Hey guys, Chad here with My Daily Bourbon. Today I want to talk about Old Forester 150th Anniversary Batch 3. So, show that off there so you can see the whole label. And this comes in at 126.8 proof. There were 3 batches that came out this year. All of them were $150. So if you found the whole lineup at retail, it's $450 for 3 bottles. The ages on these kind of vary. I think the average age in the barrels were in the bottles were 6 to 7 year old barrels. I could be wrong there, but very good friend of mine gave me this sample, and I'm not sure if he wants me to say or not, so I won't. If he wants you to know, he can say something below. But I've been very interested in these. I've heard every batch is significantly different. Some people love one, hate the other, love two, hate whatever. But I've been very, very interested in this. And I pulled up the press release from Old Forester, and I figured what I would do is just read that off, talk about what they think it is, and or what notes they find, and then I'll give my opinion on it. And then, of course, later on I'll do a full review, and I will give full score there. So Old Forester says, Old Forester 150th Anniversary Bourbon honors George Garvin Brown's original process and represents a collaboration between master distiller Chris Morris and master taster Jackie Zykan. This expression consists of 150 barrels chosen specifically by Chris, made from woods seasoned for 150 days. Jackie then personally tasted and batched all 150 barrels into 3 very distinct flavor profiles and proof points, showcasing the taste variations among barrels depending on where they rest in the Old Forester barrel houses. The bourbon is presented in an amber glass bottle, reminiscent of hand-blown glass of George's day, and sealed with a commemorative keepsake canister. Now, if you see the bottles of these, they are very nice bottles. It's their same bottle shape and design. It's just the frost of them is very nice. And I also think the tube they come in is cool. We need more tubes in American whiskey. Scotch and then whiskey overseas is always in a tube. We don't get enough tubes here. And most bourbons that are in tubes are usually H. Taylor, which you can't find. So for the nose, I believe these are written by Jackie herself on their website. She has found dill and bright orange peel with a hint of brown sugar. So let's see what I can get out of there. I can definitely see the orange peel on the nose, very citrusy up front. I wouldn't keen it to just orange. I do get like a little bit of a lemon to it as well. I'm not getting the brown sugar on the nose. I am getting some cinnamon and clove. Nice little bit of oak in there. I'm not sure the age range on these. Like I said, I know they kind of just picked certain barrels. And Old Forester doesn't really, unless you're getting a birthday bourbon, their age stock isn't usually up there. 4 to 5 years in most of their stuff. And then usually you'll get some 6 to 8 year in some of their more limited releases. It's got a little bit of an ethanol burn on the nose. And I mean, 126.8 proof, you're gonna get some ethanol burn. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised there. I'm not getting the dill either. I am getting some rye spice, which typically with like a rye whiskey, you'll pick out a dill note, but I'm not getting like a heavy dill. Let's give her a taste. Well, first, what she finds is the taste profile sweetens in the middle to melon and pine. The finish is medium dry, tingling green peppercorns, rosemary, grapefruit peel, and a lingering anise. So, or anise, not anise. That would be licorice. So we'll find out. First, I want to say this is not medium dry. This is very oak tannicky. Very, very dry. I can see where the pine would come in. It's really weird. There's a lot of rye notes that are coming into this, especially on her tasting notes. You know, that the bright citrus notes, the dill, the pine, those are usually akin to a rye whiskey. So I am getting that kind of pine on the back end of the palate. I'm getting some nice butterscotch and brown sugars on the front and then some clove. I'm still not getting that dill note. I will agree though that there is a slight licorice to this, and I'm not a fan of a licorice note. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. This one I'm on the fence on. Still no dill. Still, I am getting that, like I said, citrus, orange, lemon, oak in there, some nice vanilla. But I'm not getting a ton else. There is a good caramel on the nose, a little bit of sweet caramel. I'm not getting the melon. No, I mean, I'm not getting any sense of a melon to it. I do get a slight fruitiness in there, but no, I wouldn't akin that to a melon. I'm getting more of like a dark fruit, kind of like a rich black cherry or something along those lines. So that's complete opposite end of the spectrum than a tropical fruit or a melon. I also don't get the grapefruit peel or rosemary on the finish. There is a little bit of an earthiness to it in there, but I think it's that piney note kind of just lingering on. I mean, it does have quite a bit of a sourness, I guess you could say, and not in a weird way. Not like, you know, sour as in citrus, or sour as in like a, you know, sour beer, or sour as in pungent. But there is a bit of a sourness to the acidity. So I guess maybe sour to the citrus. Maybe that's where the grapefruit peel comes from. That's not very up front, but it's kind of just hidden in there. The licorice is kind of sticking around a lot more than I anticipated it to. It's probably the longest lasting note in the finish. I'd be curious to know what some water would do to this. And once again, I thought my dropper was here, but it's not. So I will not try that. But in my full review, I'll go back in, I'll add some water to this, kind of see what a drop or two can do to really open this up. So final thoughts on this first pour are that it is great with spice. Good spice note in there. The peppercorn, the clove, the cinnamon, and brown sugar notes are very strong. They're very good. It's kind of winning me back as far as Old Forester goes, because, you know, that Old Forester barrel strength store pick that I have, wasn't a fan of. It was too spicy, too hot. I know the proof was 5 points higher than this, but that proof point versus this proof point are worlds different. I mean, those 5 extra proof points shouldn't be able to make something almost undrinkable with like that barrel strength pick is, where this is really good. It's not overly hot, but it gives you enough heat and enough of that spice and keeps the finish going. Finish still going for me. It's very long finish. However, the medium dry, I think it is maybe almost overly dry. It is quite harsh in tannins, and that's start to finish. So, and I mention this a lot, if you aren't a fan of tannins, you will not be a fan of this. So, I mean, you might want to look at, you know, you're spending $150 on a bottle if you get it at retail, maybe $200 depending on where you're at. Are you going to want something that you're really not going to enjoy from start to finish? Now, I know me, $150, I need to love it. I need to know that if I'm going to put $150 into a bottle, I'm going to absolutely love that bottle. One thing that I think is also redeeming with this is the fact that it kind of doesn't drink like a bourbon. And I think that might have been kind of where Jackie was going with this profile, is there's a lot of like just regular straight rye whiskey notes. I get those notes as well. I hope as I dig more into this, sample that I can pick more of those out, maybe kind of agree with what she's saying here. But right now, I'm about 75% of the way there. I can see where she's getting these, but I would also like to see if I can pick out more. Because there's a lot going on in this. I really like, I said, to dissect it with some water and see how it can open up and see how that changes. But let me know below, are you guys a fan of the Old Forester 150th anniversary? Do you have a favorite batch? What is that favorite batch? And what do you think it's worth? Let me know below. Cheers, y'all.